I've been wanting to make homemade bone broth for a while now, but I had a hard time finding the right bones at regular grocery stores. I ended up going to an international market where I found a great variety. They had the most interesting types of meat, like chicken hearts, beef tongue, and beef cheek. I ended up buying chicken feet, necks, beef neck bones, and beef feet. Everything was very affordable. I spent around $26 for everything, including additional meat and organs I bought for my cats. From my local butcher, I was able to get a variety of beef bones and they gave those to me for free. I used both an Instant Pot and slow cooker because I wanted to cook both broths at the same time. I started by washing the bones and meat in water with added salt to help clean the meat. I added the meat to a baking sheet and roasted them for about 20 minutes to add flavor and color to the broth. When I was looking up recipes and videos on how to make this, I saw comments saying that what is left on the pan is great to add to the broth, so I used hot water to lift that up off the pan and add it to the pot. I filled up the pot and covered the chicken bones and added apple cider vinegar, which helps draw out nutrients, collagen, and minerals from the bones. I set the timer for 1 hour and a half so that I can come back and skim off any foam or impurities. Meanwhile, I worked on the beef bone broth since there were additional bones I had to roast and just went through the same process I did for the chicken bone broth. I filled it so that the bones were covered and set the heat to low. I guess Amarie smelled all the meat and thought I was making food for her. I don't know, but she just watched me the whole time. I set the timer to an hour so I can skim off the impurities during the cooking process. I almost forgot to add the apple cider vinegar, so I'm glad I remembered to do that. After over 6 hours, the chicken broth was ready. You're welcome to cook it for longer, but pressure cookers tend to cook faster. I removed any extra impurities and waited for everything to cool so I could strain it into mason jars. Because I was sharing this bone broth with my cats, I kept things really simple. No added onions, garlic, salt, or spices. Just bones, water, and a little apple cider vinegar to help pull out those nutrients. If you want to make a more flavorful version for yourself, you can always separate a portion and add in aromatics like herbs, garlic, or onion during the last 30 minutes to an hour of cooking. After 12 plus hours, the beef bone broth was done. I let it cool and took out as much meat as I could because the pot was a lot heavier with more bones. I strained everything and put it into mason jars. Bone broth is packed with collagen, minerals, and amino acids that support joint health, digestion, skin, and immune function for both us and our pets. It's soothing, nourishing, and pretty easy to make once you get the bones. Since some of the bones I got from the butcher had meat, I didn't want to waste it and removed a lot of the fat so I could freeze the beef and give it to my cats because I didn't want to waste anything they could eat. Once everything cooled down, I removed the fat that's separated. I noticed the chicken didn't have nearly as much fat, so I didn't have to remove anything. I froze everything and added labels to the jars. If you don't have a pressure cooker or a slow cooker, that's fine. You can do this same process in a regular pot. You would just fill it with all the bones, cover it with water, and then just cook it for as many hours as you like. Really, you can go all the way up to 24 hours. Hope this inspires you to try making your own. Comment any tips or tricks you guys have if you've ever made homemade broth before. Thank you so much for watching.